some more music.
Well, the fourth one is from the Rolling Stones, and it's called You Can't Always Get What You Want. And the reason I like it is because it reminds me of a particular time when we lost the World Cup. And it was one of those days when I used to find it very painful to lose, and especially the World Cup, which came once in 4 years. And so this song, a friend of mine made me listen to it, and it reminds me, A, of that loss, and secondly, of actually how to get over it.
You can't always get what you want.
The Rolling Stones, and You Can't Always Get What You Want. We left your cricketing career, Imran, when you were captaining Oxford in the mid-70s, and you went on to play for Worcester and Sussex, and of course became a regular player for Pakistan. What was your ambition then in those early years? What was your cricketing goal, as it were?
Well, let me tell you, when I was playing school cricket, my ambition was to be the youngest player to play for Pakistan. I mean, I have to say here that my ambitions were always so high. When I look back, I mean, I'm shocked at what I aimed for. Then when I actually played for Pakistan, I remember that, people there were other players in the team were quite nervous. It was a first test against England when England was supposed to be invincible in 1971. And, other players now when I look back might have ambitions like, they should just do okay. Mine was nothing less than to score 100 runs and get 10 wickets in the match.
You in fact became, of course, the best all-rounder in the world, or one of the greatest anyway, didn't you? I mean, do those records mean a lot to you? I think you were only the third man in history to score 3,000 test runs and 300 wickets, alongside Botham and Kapil Dev. I mean, does that mean something to you?
Well, it did in the beginning. When I wasn't the captain, it obviously meant that you were competing with other rivals and you wanted to excel against them. But, when I became the captain, for some reason, these became irrelevant. Because then my ambition became to see Pakistan on top of world cricket. And so it wasn't so much, how I competed with these other players, but how the team competed as a whole.
You're a natural leader, would you say?
But I have to say that as a player, my performances improved dramatically when I became the captain as a player. And also I found that the satisfaction I got from the team doing well and watching the team succeeding, because we had the greatest success in the 80s, that gave me a lot of fulfillment.
But have you got a cricketing ambition left? Is there one more thing that you would really like to achieve before you declare?
Well, one is now coming up is the World Cup. I've played in all the World Cups. And now in February we've got this World Cup in Australia, and obviously the ambition would be to win it.
After that you might retire?
If I have any regret, was that I announced a retirement in 1986, that I would retire in 87. Now that was the biggest mistake I made, because I didn't realize that one actually does not have control over events in the future. So it is a very silly thing to do, to announce your retirement a year earlier when you don't know a year later what the circumstances would be. So I've been very careful since then. I mean, I came back after that 3 months later because of a pressure which I couldn't cope with. And then I'm glad I came back because I had some great series since then.
That was pressure from your own president, wasn't it, from President Zia?
Well, yes, it was a pressure and an honour, really, to have been asked publicly by the head of state.
Record number 5.
Well, this is a group called Them. A long time ago they recorded this one. It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Now the reason I like it is because it was at a time when this record was a hit. I was also coming to the end of a relationship. And so it just reminds me of that, and plus it's a great record.
And it's all over now.
It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, sung by Them, and memories of the breakup of a close relationship for you, Imran. Your personal life and the women in it is very well documented. Indeed, it's the subject of endless speculation. How much does that annoy you?
Well, I don't know how well documented it is, because a lot of this is pure speculation. If you're seen with someone, then their photographs appear, then you're supposed to be having a relationship with them, which not always is true. There's one thing I want to make clear. I mean, I've always been sort of dubbed as a playboy. it's something that is not possible for someone like me. Because I think a playboy, of what I've seen of playboys, and one of my closest friends fits the description, it is someone who has a lot of time and money, and, who then is in pursuit of women all the time. I've never had time because I've been a full-time cricketer, and then I actually never have had that much money.
But you've had lots of girlfriends.
I've had friends, yes.
But you did once contemplate marriage with an English girl, didn't you?
That's true. I thought about it once and came pretty close.
Why didn't it happen?
Well, it didn't happen because I suppose our different cultural backgrounds, eventually, they just became more important.
So what did you say to your family? If when you were 18 you expected, as you said, to follow in the footsteps of your cousins and be educated at Oxford and then become captain of Pakistan and go back to your arranged marriage, what did you say to your family? Did you say, excuse me, I don't want to do that bit of it, or can we defer that for a bit?
My mother, every time I used to come back from a cricket season in England, she would say, it's time you got married. Now, this is when I was 24 onwards. So one day I told her, I said, listen, the day I'm 30, you can just marry me to anyone. But then, when you were 25, 30 seems so far away. When I was 30, I discovered that, I didn't want marriage. And so I explained to her that, I tried to make her understand that, my life, it won't fit in with it. And really, I at no stage felt I was ready for marriage.
And you still don't?
Even further now, I feel that I'm further away from marriage now than ever. I don't particularly feel that I have the commitment to marriage. I think that marriage, if I go into it, it means a complete commitment to your children and your wife.
Will you not regret it if you never become a father, if you never have children?
No, because that is the wrong reason to get married, out of insecurity. And as we all know, marriage has no guarantees. People get married for worrying about their old age, and 2 years later they are divorced and single again.
Perhaps you just spent too long thinking about it, worrying about it. Next piece of music.
Yeah, it is from Elvin Bishop. Now, this is a song which is called Fooled Around and Fell in Love. It's specially dedicated to this friend of mine, who I said that there's a very close friend of mine who is actually a playboy. He is someone who adores women and who's always lived for women. And 3 times in his life, while fooling around, he fell in love and got married. But sadly, none of his marriages lasted a year. And this is especially for him.
Your mother, Imran, died in 1985 of cancer, despite great efforts on your part to get good treatment for her. You found yourself appalled, didn't you, at the lack of medical treatment in Pakistan?
Well, frankly, till 1985, there was never any part of me that was touched as far as a medical health care in Pakistan went, or there was never ever any problem in my family. So when she first started complaining about pains in her stomach, and she went to various places to find out, have it diagnosed, they all came up with sort of the wrong treatment. Some said it's dysentery, amoebic dysentery, whatever. She, in fact, herself went to a certain clinic and said, look, there's a problem. I feel there's a blockage in one of my intestines. I actually can feel something there. And eventually they did the right test and found out that she had a tumor. Now, by that time, valuable time had been lost. I got her to come to England where she had it operated, but sadly, it had just got out of the intestine and it spread, eventually reached her liver, and she died a very painful death. Now, it was at this stage, being very close to her, and secondly, watching someone that close to her in so much pain, the result was that if I look back, it was like a watershed in my career, in my life. It suddenly changed me completely. I think it was not so much a death, but the pain she went through and the fact that it was needless. Cancer of the intestine, it's one of the few cancers that actually can be cured very quickly, if caught early. Now, the other thing that made me realize was that in the whole of our country, 110 million people, we do not have one cancer hospital. And what I'm trying to do right now is setting up a cancer hospital which means, I have never worked as much as this in my whole life.
So when you say that was a watershed in your life, you're saying that doing something about that has given you a point in your life, a new point, a new goal to aim at.
Well, much more than that. First of all, it was, the shock, the pain, then I wanted to do something, but it was more the awareness. I think the reason of the hospital was not so much my mother dying of cancer, it was the awareness that it brought me.
Some more music.
Okay, song number 7 is from, again, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. And this is called Allahu. And this is a song in praise of God. And this is just something which I've seen during these big festivals drive a whole crowd crazy.
Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, again singing Allahu. So we prepare to cast you away, Imran. You're obviously a fighter, an ambitious man, you said, determined. Are you a practical man as well? Can you build a shelter for yourself or shoot something to eat or catch something to eat?
Shoot, yes, but I'm not sure about building shelters, but I suppose I eventually would.
You're a man of the hills, aren't you? You say you like to go off into the hills and just drink in the calm and the peace. Is that what you imagine?
I love the mountains. We have in Pakistan probably the greatest mountain scenery in the world because we have the roof of the world. The Karakoram mountain range is the highest in the world.
So you'll enjoy the peace and the aloneness of life on a desert island. What do you think you will miss most from life here?
I think what I miss most, what I will miss, is the stimulation one gets by meeting people. And I love good minds. I can't do as much reading as I would want to. And so when you come across people who are well-read or who are experts in their subject, in any field, I really enjoy listening to them.
Last record.
Okay, this is one of my favorites of music from the West. And this is Pink Floyd and Us and Them. The reason I like it is because for some reason, whenever I listen to it, it gives me a feeling of tranquility. I really feel that this record just completely relaxes me. If I was a meditating man, which I'm not, I would meditate with this song.
Us.
Pink Floyd and Us and Them. So which one of the 8 records will you need with you most on the island, Imran?
Can I have 2 choices?
No.
Well, then it'll have to be... I suppose I'd take this one, Us and Them.
Now, on the beach waiting for you is the Bible, if you want it, and the complete works of Shakespeare. What other book would you like to have with you?
The one I would like is a book written by one of the greatest poets of the subcontinent. His name was Iqbal, and he wrote this book, Bang-e-Dara. Firstly, it's poetry, but the poetry is about how it's about Islam, and it's about also trying to tell the younger generation. This is written, by the way, in the 20s and the 30s, and he's trying to tell the younger generation of Muslims who were then ruled by the British to rise again, but rise sort of mentally to understand the essence of Islam.
And a luxury.
Well, a luxury, if I could have it, would be a gun. I know that it's not allowed to shoot your food, so it would be a 12-bore gun to do some clay pigeon shooting there.
So you need a machine to shoot up the clay pigeons as well?
Yeah, the gun and the clay pigeon shooting machine. It's something, actually, I really enjoy. I mean, it doesn't have to be killing things, but I actually just, it's something I've done all my life, shooting. Not as much as I'd like to, but I would quite just enjoy clay pigeon shooting there.
You shall have it. Imran Khan, thank you very much indeed for letting us hear your Desert Island Discs.
Thank you.